Okay, so let me explain the title real quick of this video. One, no one should be paying anyone for a date. No one should be pulling this. It's not a good idea. And on top of that, let's just say paying for something never really goes your way. I guess the meaning of money doesn't buy happiness is true in some ways. Unless you buy like a super Lamborghini and drive it down the road like boom. But other than that, before the story starts, I just want to mention that I'm currently live on Twitch. So if you guys haven't, go click the link down in the description below. Go ahead and do it. And on top of that, did I mention to leave a like and subscribe? Seriously, it means a lot when you guys leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It seriously does. And on top of that, did I mention I love you? Okay, now we're getting too personal. Okay, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place, funny enough, back when I was in high school. Towards the end of high school, I should say. So I was kind of like in the summer of getting out of high school. But in a way, I was still a high schooler mindset, if that makes any sense. Because all I wanted to do was the devil's tango still. But other than that, I remember one time my buddy came up to me, and this was like at the mall randomly, and I haven't seen him since, you know, the end of high school. And he walked up to me, he said, yo, Bubba, it's been a while, man. Yo, dab me up, homie. I dab him up, you know. If you guys don't know what dabbing up is, then clearly, you know, you don't have any culture in you of this generation. But going on, I dab him up, and I remember he looks at me and he's like, yo, bro, like, I'm having a big party, man. If you want to come, go for it, bro. I know you always pull the girls back in high school. And I look at him and I'm like, I still do. I didn't say that. It was just in my head because thinking people thought I was retired from pulling women. No way, Jose. I could grab a girl literally tomorrow if I wanted to. Sorry. Going on though. So he said that, and I remember I told him, oh, dude, like, I got a lot of girls in my DMs. Are you sure you want me to come to this party, bro? He's like, yeah, man. I don't want it to be a sausage fest. You know what I mean, dog? Bring girls. Then after he said that, I remember I looked towards my phone and I got a Snapchat from a girl, but this was no ordinary girl. The girl that Snapchatted me was, funny enough, a girl that I was supposed to be seeing, but let's just say she ended up going with another guy. But we're still kept, you know, good friend and close contact. Anyways, going on though, I remember he ended up walking away, the guy that invited me to this party, and I said, bet, I'm gonna go to this party. At least that's what I said in my mind. And I ended up going home and I ended up snapping over 25 women that night to see who can come to this party with me tomorrow night. A lot of them said no. A lot of them said they're getting ready for university, which is lame, but whatever. Actually, I'm just kidding. Stay in school, kids. But going on, I tried messaging a bunch of women and none of them were available. It's crazy to me how out of 20 women, I managed to get 0. Maybe my high school game was off. Maybe I wasn't pulling enough anymore, even though we literally just ended high school. I don't know. I needed to figure out a way to bring a chick. So I remember I ended up going on Xbox and I started talking to my buddy that was on with me. We were playing Black Ops 2 Zombies, and I was explaining to him how I didn't have a date for this party. And he told me, oh, dude, it's fine. Like, don't get a date to the party then. Just go yourself, man. I told him I couldn't. I told him that, I don't know, a part of me felt like it'd be weird going in there without a date, and yet everyone else has a chick. And like, I didn't want to be that one guy that seemed like he got all the girls in high school, but then nothing after. He kind of understood what I was going from, and he told me, bro, if you really need a chick to explain who you are, then that's kind of weird. But honestly, man, like, I think I know a chick, but on one condition. I said anything. I literally told him anything. He said, you can take my sister out, but rules are you have to give her $1,000 and you cannot touch her at the end of the night. The most I'll let you do is kiss her. I said, bet. Honestly, that was a fair enough deal. His sister was hot at the time, and maybe she was a little older than all of us, but still, win-win scenario. So I remember I ended up going to my buddy's house the next day, and towards the night, I ended up going to pick up this girl. I picked her up. She sat in my car, and instantly she said, so you're gonna e-transfer me the $1,000? I said yes, and I e-transferred her right on the spot, and we ended up going to this party. As we were on the way there, though, she was telling me like how she needed a bit of a rundown to kind of explain who I am and stuff like that, because all she knows is that I play Xbox with her brother. So I gave her the rundown. I said I was basically a super awesome dude who pulled all the chicks back in high school, but decided to settle down, but still pull more girls. She looked at me and she's like, oh, so you're like that player wannabe? I looked at her, I'm like, I'm not a wannabe. I was a player. Like, I don't know. I don't know what was happening at this time of my life, but it was just a phase, I guess, where I wasn't pulling enough girls. But going on though, we got to the party and we ended up getting out. And as we were walking around, I remember I saw a bunch of people from high school look at me, and they saw this girl I was with and they couldn't believe it. They looked over and they're like, no way. Is that Bubba with a girl? Everyone started staring him down. And honestly, I don't know why it was such a big shock, but I don't know. I impressed everyone with this chick. We ended up walking around. I had my arm around her waist, you know, the whole show off shebang thing. Yes, I did pay $1,000, so I'm getting my money's worth, people. Now, quick warning for the video. I know it's bad to, you know, put money into women and treat them like objects. I know that's a really bad thing. I'm not Andrew Tate, people, but I'm just saying one thing. At the time, things were different, okay? We didn't have Andrew Tate. We didn't have so many people pushing different things. You know what? Never mind. We're gonna continue on with the story. So I remember as I was walking around, and I remember I went to go get this girl some punch that I was with. My buddy walks up to me at the party, the one that invited me in the first place. He walks up to me and says, yo, bro, man, like, seriously, bro, like, nice chick, man. Where'd you find it? I started thinking, I'm like, the club, which was an extremely wrong answer answer because automatically his eyes open wide and he's like, you do know you have to be 19 to get into the club. We're only 18. We just graduated, Baba. Shoot. Fake ID? Oh, you got the fake. Oh, okay, cool, man. Cool, man. Sorry. I didn't know you were that cool, man. I told him, yeah, man, like I party all the time. What can I say? I'm an animal. Right as that conversation was going though, I remember the chick that I brought to the party looks over at like my direction, opens her eyes widely, and she just runs over to me and says, oh, like, hey baby, like we gotta keep going around the party. I want you to introduce some cool people I met. Thank God she did that, because honestly, she was a lightsaber. It seemed like she knew what she was doing, actually, funny enough, the more I think about it. But let's just say things do get worse, people. Not all things can end up being the best way possible, and not all things kind of just turn out. That's one thing you should learn in every story that I tell. Not everything goes its way. I remember one thing that ended up happening as we were all kind of just sitting down, kind of just chilling out and talking, having a good time. Another person showed up to the party, but he was kind of late and he was just alone. He was just some guy from our high school. No one really knew him. All we knew was that his parents were rich and he was going through some family problems. He ended up coming through the door, and instantly when he saw me, he smiled. But then when he saw a chick I was with, he gave a shock face. A shock face meaning, you know, like that emoji where he's like, you know, slapping his hands on his like face and it's like a big like, oh yeah, he had one of those faces. And like, I've never seen an emoji IRL, but that was like the emoji IRL. Like, it was scary, dude. I remember I looked over and I'm like, oh shoot, he knows something. And after that, the lady looks at me. She's like, why is he looking at me like that? What does he know? Did you tell him? I told her, no, I don't know why he's shocked. And then after that, I remember he ended up walking up to me and her and he said, hey, Bubba, did you bring this girl? I ended up saying, yeah, what about her? And then he told me to meet him into the other room. So I said, okay, sure, I'll go talk to him. Maybe like, you know, had a bad experience with this girl or something. I have no idea. But from what the girl was telling me, she wouldn't know anyone at this party. So there's no way they actually know each other. Anyways, I go into the other room and he looks at me. He's like, Bubba. I'm like, yeah. He says, dude, you do know that's the girl my dad cheated on my mom with, right? I look over and I'm like, bro, what? And then he says, yeah, man, like she's like a full-on prostitute. You didn't know that? Okay, quick side lesson here. A prostitute's is someone that basically takes money to go to the devil's tango with. I didn't know that. I'm just gonna say that right now. By the way, before anything, I did not know that my buddy's sister was a prostitute. I have no idea. So I remember I look at him and I'm like, oh, I have no idea. Yeah, no, not the smartest thing to say. But then after that, I remember the girl ends up walking in that I brought to the party and she's like, hey, is everything all right here? Thinking that I needed saving. And I told her, so you're a prostitute. She looks over at me like in the most weirdest, like smirkiest face. And she's like, excuse me, did you just call me a damn prostitute? Who do you think you are? I am not an object. I just paid $1,000 for you to come here. I am still not an object. I have no idea what she was going with, people. I have no idea what, you know, I was like dealing with here. But all I remember is that everyone was like kind of hearing us in the other room. And then she ended up being all pissed off and standing up and getting out of the party and leaving. She left. She took a cab home. And then I instantly just walked out of that room. I see everyone staring at me like I was the most weirdest kid ever. And what did I do? Well, I went out of there because I said, hell no. And I went out of there. I went into my car and I drove home, acted like nothing ever happened. Did I talk to any of those people again? No, because I did not have the balls to. After that, dude, no way, Jose. Other than that, though, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.